presentations. I'm so grateful to partner again with Christina because now she has a second person in division. So we haven't seen you in a year because there was you and Harry and that was the whole show.
Yeah.
So now we're blessed to have someone from OSA and we're going to have Issa come as well. So Christina is going to start doing what Christina does best, which is leadership, topics in leadership, getting you excited, speaking to that motivation and enthusiasm, helping our awareness. So give her your time and attention and your best efforts. And I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. The light is great. Oh, that means it's working. Hi, everybody. I'm Christina W. I am very happy to be here. I gotta tell you, since the pandemic started, this is my largest group that I've worked with so far. So on one hand, it's like, I'm happy to be back with, I mean, this is about how many are there here?
We have,
Including the Zoom room.
yeah, I'm gonna say we have 50 altogether right now.
Okay, yeah. So I think that I've had like 5. That's in person. Virtually, I could probably say like 100, and then before the pandemic, it was 1,000. But here it's like, this is the biggest group I've had in a long time. So I'm very happy to be here with you. But also, it's the group that you are. You know, who am I here with? Impact. Yeah. Yes. Impact. Yeah. So it's always great to interact with you all, to learn about you all. And so that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna be learning about leadership, we're gonna be learning about each other, learn about me, I'll learn about you. That's one of my favorite things to do. How's that sound?
Good.
Okay. Also, I will give you the heads up now. I am not a lecturer. I don't even call myself a speaker. Some people will be like, you are a speaker, you speak. I'm a workshop facilitator. So I facilitate discussion, I facilitate learning, which means that I'm gonna be moving around the room. You're gonna move at some point, and interaction is what's gonna keep this going. I'm not gonna be like, and now, no, we're gonna talk, okay? You're gonna have groups. So is there anybody who identifies as an I, the introvert? Do you know you're an introvert? Okay. Okay, so just heads up in case small group work or getting up is intimidating. I also am an I. Yes. Yes.
You said I, you please that reference.
An introvert.
Introvert as you.
All right, so we're gonna talk about it. Did you do your 16 personalities assessment yet? All right, there you go. Okay. You just told on yourself. When you asked me what the I was, that's okay. We're gonna learn about that. All right. So if you could just so whoever's in Zoom, you could put the word in, and whoever's here, just shout some words out. How do you feel right now? It could be a paragraph. How do you feel right now? I heard hungry, I heard good, I heard chill. Is anybody in the chat say anything? Sleepy, tired, hungry. Is this like Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs? All right. Tired, good. Tired and good. Okay. All right. So, oh yes, in the chat. I see you in the chat, and I recognize some of you. Hey. All right. There's a lot of tired around here. Okay. So hopefully you leave here feeling a little more energized. All right. Thanks for sharing that. So this is what we're going to be doing. We're in introductions right now. We're going to review 16 personalities a little bit. We're going to talk about your strengths. We're also going to talk about the importance of knowing other people's strengths. And then we're going to be done. How's that sound? Okay. All right, cool. I'm glad. All right. So first off, introductions. So I'm not sure if you can totally see it, but that's me. I'm Christina W. I was born in New York City. I was born in Queens. I've lived in Brooklyn for most of my life. I'm the Assistant Director of Student Activities and Leadership in the Office of Student Activities here at BMCC. But I'm also a workshop facilitator, and this is being recorded, right? So whatever, it's fine. I got hired at VMCC, I think, because people knew me from facilitating workshops. So I love facilitating workshops, so it's like, if I have to sit in front of my computer, or I have to be here with all you, what do you think I'm gonna choose? Yeah, and I like doing workshops too, so, yeah. I have a bachelor's degree in television and radio from Brooklyn College. Anybody interested in television, radio, or Brooklyn College? Okay. You watch TV. Okay, me too. I have a master's degree in industrial and organizational psychology. Has anyone ever heard of that before? Is anyone a psychology major? Okay, one. It's basically the study of groups, organizations, and teams, and the psychology behind them. So why people do certain things when they're in groups, and a lot of stuff that you talk about even outside of psychology. So even some of the stuff that you were talking about earlier. So I've worked in education for, at this point, yeah, 20 years. This month marks 20 years that I've been in education of some sort, working. I'm also like, on my non-professional stuff, I'm a nature lover. I have 21 plants. I'm currently studying chakras, if you've heard of what that is, crystals and sound healing. And movement is important to me. So whether it's stretching or it's dancing or it's working out, and I'm a big music and sports fan. So depending on what kind, oh wait, go back. I'll say, we're not going to that point yet. Okay. All right, so we're here to talk about 16 personalities and how it relates to leadership. How many of you have ever heard of 16 personalities? Show of hands, and in the chat, you can say me. Okay. All right, cool, so most of you. Okay. So 16 personalities is an assessment. It gives you more information about yourself. It doesn't mean this is me for the rest of my life, because the first letter is E or I, which is extrovert or introvert. I used to be an extrovert. I've gone introvert, and also I have another letter that changed. So things can change. It also can depend on when you took it. Maybe you were in an introverted mood. You know, I don't want to talk to anybody right now. I just want to be by myself, and that's how you answered it. Or you know, you were ready for a party, ready to be out with people, and that's when you answered it. So I just want you to keep that in mind, that it's to learn more about yourself, but also what we're going to do here is learn about other people as well. So if you could actually go to the website, the 16 personalities, please. Thank you. Cool, okay. All right, thank you. So we have, if you could click on the advocate, please, we'll go, that's the only one we'll click on. Everybody else will keep. So this is mine. I'm an INFJ. Did anybody else get INFJ? Okay, all right, cool. So when you do it, I also want to point something out. Under, if you see, under the INFJA, INFJT, it's like, what's the A, what's the T? If you click, yeah, you got it, Jeff. If you click on that, it explains what that is. Because I had never heard about that before until we got to 16 personalities. So I would recommend looking at that as well. Now, if you can go back, thank you. So how many of you have done, like, have gone through and looked through your personality type? Okay, a lot of you. All right, cool. That's helpful. All right, and Jeff, if you can go back. No, go back to the, yeah, there you go. Thank you. And I think I saw a hand, did I see a hand raised? Maybe just to say that I have J. Okay. So.
That is so neat, by the way, the mediator, that's exactly what I am.
So we got diplomats, INFJ, INFP, ENFJ, ENFP. So that's like one group of them. And then if you go to the next tab. Thank you. Okay. So then you got analysts, you got the architect. So INTJ, INTP, ENTJ, ENTP. And then if you go to the next one. And I'm gonna ask everybody, and if you don't know, it's okay, but I am gonna ask everybody in a little bit, you know, which one you are. So yeah, ISTJ, ISFJ, ESTJ, ESFJ. Those are the sentinels. And then the last tab, the explorers, the virtuoso, the adventurer, the entrepreneur, the entertainer. So that's ISTP, ISFP, ESTP, ESFP. That's a whole lot of letters, right? We're gonna learn more about why. Why are we talking about this today? So Jeff, if you could go back to the presentation, thank you, yes, and then we'll go to the if you go, yeah, in the bottom, there's like 2 arrows. Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Cool, all right, thank you. So. Does anybody wanna take the microphone and read the definition of self-awareness? I saw your hand first. And please introduce yourself as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Paulo. Self-awareness. Conscious knowledge of one's own character, feelings, motives, and desires. So knowing your strengths, likes, dislikes, interests, skills, triggers, areas to work on. Yeah.
Knowing how you can impact others. Actually, thank you. Let's give a round of applause for setting up to get the microphone. Okay, all right, cool. So, what do you think about self-awareness? Why am I talking about 16 personalities and now all of a sudden I went to self-awareness? How do those two, why? How do those two match up? Is that it? Yeah. Now, do you feel comfortable with the microphone? All right, cool. And introducing yourself as well. Thank you.
My name is Monty Gray.
Whatever you want. Whatever you want to talk about. You got the microphone. No, just let's stay on track. Why are we talking about self-awareness and 16 personalities? Like, how did I go from one thing to the next?
Because it was brought up before about know thyself. So if you know and are self-aware about your character, feelings, and motives, you know your strengths, weaknesses of your personality and how you react to certain things, and that could, you know, cause sign to everything that you're doing, especially at impact.
Right. Yes. When someone who's tired. That's when you're like, oh, it's so hungry. If I was tired, I would be like, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So the more you know about yourself, the easier life can be, because you also know what you need. Like, let's say in a work environment or on a team. Like, I know, oh, you need somebody to do this? I'm here. You got me. Or you need somebody to do that? You probably want somebody else to do it. I mean, I can do it, but somebody else probably do better. Also, you know, like setting boundaries and self-care, those are important things. So the more you know about yourself, the more you know about the boundary you need. Like, I need boundaries. Some people don't need as many boundaries as I do, but I know that, and I'll also communicate it. Also, when it comes to self-care, I know there's certain things that work for me, they don't work for other people. So, have you heard of self-awareness before? Show of hands, like the term self-awareness. All right, cool. I also like to gauge what you know about this. So then next up, thank you. We have some ways to increase your self-awareness. Because if self-awareness is so important, then you got to work on it. And it's never ending, because, you know, sometimes you like something and then you don't like it anymore. Or like, you know, it's like as you mature, as you experience different things, you run into different things. So who wants to read the first arrow? Thanks. So the first one.
Hello everyone, my name is Joaquin. The fourth bullet point said journal, the second bullet point said medication. The third bullet point said vision board, and the last one says read the articles and books.
Thank you. Let's give you a round of applause. For stepping up and doing that. All right, anybody here, do you, in that first hour, do you do any of those things? You can shout, yeah. Do you feel like sharing? Which ones? Okay.
All of them.
Oh, all of them, okay. Anybody else? Yes. Vision board, okay. Do you feel comfortable sharing what a vision board is? Are you comfortable with the microphone? All right, cool.
Alicia, so vision boards are basically things that you want to achieve, or like you have a vision that you want to see out in your life. So basically what I do is like I make Pinterest boards, and I also have like a goal that I want to, like, you know, things that I want to do. For example, like one semester I had a vision that I would get like straight A's. It keeps you in check to like really see where you want to go.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Yes, you know what to do. Round of applause. Okay, is there anyone who wants to read the second arrow? I'm coming back there. You know the deal, microphone, and please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Cindy. How supportive people in your corner, friends, family, mentors, colleagues, partners. Be mindful of what energy you expose yourself to through media and social media.
Thank you very much. Round of applause. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for reading those. Okay, so having supportive people in your corner. Now, when I say supportive, I don't mean yes people. And what yes people are is like, oh yeah. I don't know if anybody's ever watched Modern Family.
I love this.
Yeah, so do I. So I feel like Gloria is always like, oh, Mary, you can do anything you want. Everything is correct. You look good all the time. You want to hear the real deal. But it's so constructive criticism in a loving way. So people who are going to tell you what the real deal is, because that helps you with your self-awareness. That helps you to learn about yourself. If there are people who are going to tell you something to put, because they want to put you down, those are not supportive people. Like, yeah, I'm going to tell you, you know, that jacket is ugly. Like, oh, you're going to ask me my opinion? Now I get to tell you, you know. I don't mean that. And sometimes it's not family and friends. Sometimes it's somebody like in a group like this, or sometimes it's a staff member you meet at the MCC, you know, so there's no specific person or group that it's gonna come from. And the other part, as far as media and social media, is there anybody that can relate to that and knows why I have that up there? Do you feel like sharing? You okay with that? Yeah, all right. Yes, please. Say that beautiful name.
I'm Shatisha, and yes, social media can definitely drain the soul out of you. Even media, just like very sad news or just disturbing news, and it really takes a toll out of you, even if you don't want it to, it somehow unconsciously does.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, I sweat.
Thank you. I'm gonna give you a round of applause for that one. And feel free, anybody who's in the Zoom, feel free to answer in the chat as well and let us know, you know, any of the answers to those questions. Yeah, so sometimes people you follow on social media or stories you hear on, you know, in the media, it can actually make you think differently about yourself. And so that is something that I try to be mindful of, is like, who am I following and how do they make me feel? Sometimes it's just, you need information. So, you know, it's like, yeah, something happened and it's sad and it's on the news, but it's like, I know what's happening. But then sometimes there are accounts like, oh, I just unfollowed something. I don't know what it was now. And I just felt like, it was a magazine. I just felt like all the news stories were trash. Like, it was like, this person's dating this person, and like, this person's mad about, you know, this one's like butt surgery. And I was like, why do we need to know about this? Like, why is this even news? Like, who cares? Stop holiday. Is that your hand? Oh, you were just stretching. All right, good stretch. Yeah, so that's something, like social media and media are good because they keep you informed and they connect you, but also they could be negative. They can make you say things about yourself that are not true and make you treat people in a way that is not healthy. All right, last arrow. Anybody want to read the last arrow? Three.
Yeah, I.
Please.
Alright, Ryan here. Alright, so counselor, therapist, and or coach. Assessments such as MBTI, 16 personalities, True Colors, Strengths Finder, BuzzFeed, the 5 love languages.
Thank you very much. So, yeah, you're fine. All right, so there's something that I want to tell you about a microphone. And we'll talk about that last arrow. There's something I learned, I don't know where I learned it, but I was doing a workshop and somebody said, there could be people in the room who you think can hear you, but they have trouble hearing and they're not gonna point at, they're not gonna be like, I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I have like partial hearing loss. Like, they're not gonna do that. Or they might usually wear hearing aids and, you know, so they don't have them in or whatever the case is. So whoever I was, the person taught me, you know, like always use a microphone, even if you can project, like I could project. Like I could probably be okay in this room, but that's something like when there's a microphone present, I'm like, all right, let me use the microphone. Plus also we have Zoom people in the Zoom, so I want to make sure they can hear. So yeah, so that last one, does anybody still do BuzzFeed quizzes? Do you still do them? No, okay, well.
They exist.
Do they exist anymore? Wait, okay, you know what it is? It's like, what kind of piece of cake are you?
Right.
Like that kind of stuff?
Or like the Facebook quizzes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it transferred to
it
Facebook.
did. Yeah, yeah, I've had that in there for a little while. So, yeah, so those kind of quizzes. It's silly, or like in the office, we did the office personality quiz, which was like silly, just to show the office. But then we ended up having a conversation about it, like, oh, why are you Stanley? Oh, I could see that. Da, da, da. If you watch The Office, that was one of them. At 16 personalities on the list, where are you in this? Has anybody heard of the 5 love languages? Okay, so thank you. So the 5 love languages, usually people talk about that when it's like a romantic partner. You know, like, oh, let's see, you know, what your love language is. But we actually did that in our office too, because it's helping things about, I actually just talked about this in a workshop. It's helping things about yourself and about others. So it's like, it could be like, I'm a gift giver, but I could be. But it's like gift giving is my lowest love languages, where quality time is my highest. So that's why I like to spend time with people, although I'm an introvert, so I need my boundaries. So see, those are all the things that I've learned about myself, both doing all these things and also just living and seeing how I do things. So you can do those for yourself. Again, not all these things, like don't see it as a label, like this is me for the rest of my life. No, I learned something about myself. Okay, so those are some of them that you could do. Even the silly ones help you to learn a little bit more about yourself. Okay. Now, I think, no, we're gonna go back one. Cool, and thank you. We're gonna go to the 16 personalities website. All right. Yes. Thank you. Okay. So now, we've had some conversations, but you've been sitting. Now, if there's anyone who, for any specific reason, you're like, no, I gotta stay seated in this chair, no problem. What I would like to do is have you break up into groups based on your personality type. Okay. So I saw the 2 of you first, so I'll go Shatisha and then remind me your name? Amani. Okay, all right, cool. So please introduce yourself and tell us what is so great about you.
Oh.
In a good way, like, what are your strengths?
You wanted me to talk about why something's on to figure it out.
No, what are your two strengths? I
So-
want you to practice talking about yourself.
Hello, I'm Shatisha. And my two strengths are I'm great at motivating groups of people. And I'm a great singer.
Okay, now we're gonna give you the microphone. How do you feel about standing up in front of the room and telling everybody that?
I feel comfortable about that. I don't know why she didn't get to that, but.
What about that?
I actually forgot what the next person said.
Oh, all right, cool, all right. Was there anybody, while you think about it, was there anybody else that thought about it for a little bit, who feels comfortable sharing? Okay, all right, cool. So you'll go after.
Alright, hello, everybody again. My name is Amani. I said my two strengths for giving great advice and always having hustle in my DNA.
The reason why I picked the people who had to think for a little bit and then I had you come up is I do, like I said earlier, I do want people to get into the practice of sharing. There's a program, has anybody done GEM before, the leadership program? Okay, so the first question, I think I started off with brag about yourself. Because oftentimes talking about yourself is like, no, be humble, and it's like, there's a way of sharing who you are and saying what you're good at without being too conceited or obnoxious. Did you say obnoxious? Somebody say that? Oh, okay, well. Yeah. So, I feel like often this world is like, no, don't share. And stand in front of people and say it? Oh, no. And then let's not talk about when we get into race and gender. It's even more. For certain races and genders, you talk about intersectionality, it's like, we definitely don't want to hear what you gotta say. So if I'm in a room, I want to give you the microphone and I want you to tell us about yourself. So going to the group that I'll have two people. And you did have your hand raised, so we'll come back to you now. Two people who you knew right off the bat what your two strengths were. So I have one already. Anybody else? Is that a hand? Yeah. Okay, all right, cool. So yes, and how comfortable do you feel standing in front of the room?
Okay, so my strengths are like, number one is I'm a good listener. I always try to listen first, then speak. And the second is like time management. I always do my things on my time, Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, we're just. But you have to think about it or not, don't forget to put it in the chat.
Okay, my name is Cindy. So I'm good at listening to people. Because most of the time people feel very comfortable talking to me and they let me know that. Because I'm not only, like you said earlier, listening at what they are expressing, but I'm good at guessing as well. And not guessing and then jump in, but guessing and make a way for them to meet me and then sharing actually what is going on. And I think also that I'm also great at public speaking and I like it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I see in the chat, I am reading it, just so you know, that what you're putting in the chat is being noticed. It can also mean being proud of yourself. Yeah, yes. Every one of you in here, if you're not already, I hope that you can achieve a time when you are proud of yourself. And it could be, I got out of bed this morning and came to this training. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. Or it could be something that for you is on a grander scale. One of the things that I've been trying to pay more attention to is like on social media, when people post about birthdays or like, hey, I got my a new haircut, it's like, oh, great, you know, just celebrating things more, you know? For myself, but also for other people. So, okay, so we'll go, if you could take the chat down and then go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, does anybody want to read this? Please, with the microphone. Anybody who hasn't spoken yet on the microphone.
He was raised.
Okay, oh, okay, cool, okay, thank you. Someone with an earring? Oh, okay.
Hey, everybody, my name is Vin. And in order to lead people, you have to get to know them.
Yes. Thank you very much. Okay. I don't even need to tell them anyone, it's great, I don't have to ask for it. Yes, in order to lead people, you have to get to know them. Derek Jeter, anybody a Yankees fan? Okay, all right, cool, a couple people, anybody a baseball fan? Okay, all right. Is there anybody who knows who Derek Jeter is?
Yes.
Okay, all right, not everyone's into baseball, also. You know, you might not be into sports and maybe you just, you know, you've never heard of these people, sorry. But, so. Derek Jeter. A major figure in Major League Baseball. So in order to lead people, you have to get to know them. This is what we're gonna do. First, I like using quotes a lot. So I have this one here, feel free to take a picture. I'll post it on my social media later, you can share it if you want. So now, if you are the kind of leader who feels that it's important to get to know the people you're leading, these are some basic ways of getting to know people. Say I want, and some of them are going to be the same as what you did to get to know yourself. Does anyone want to read the first one? Okay, yeah, exactly. Ask them. It's easy. So is anybody? I'm a question asker. Is anybody here someone who will ask questions like how you doing? Yeah, like you ask questions. Is it like how are you doing? Like, oh, what's going on? Oh, how was that TV show you were watching? Oh, how are you feeling today? Oh, like why? Okay, got it. Got it. Yeah, I do that too. My sister will joke about like, here you go, we're gonna asking questions. And I'm like, that's how I learn about people. It's by asking them. Also, we have the personality assessments, which we said as far as getting to know yourself, you know, self-awareness. So they're there as well. So you have ones like 16 personalities where it really does help, or MBTI, strengths, where you bring somebody in to process it. Now, for the self-awareness and for getting to know other people, the Center for Career Development here at BMCC does MBTI and strong interest inventory. And so you can set up, if you haven't done it before, you can set up an appointment with them and process the results. So also, again, the 5 love languages, you know, these are things, if you have a group, you could be like, hey, and most of these are free. MBTI, if you Google that, like, let's say, MBTI, the Avengers, they will have the results. So MBTI is like 16 personalities. It'll be like INTJ, ESFJ, or whatever. And it'll tell you like, you're like the Incredible Hulk, or there'll be one as Harry Potter and you're like, you know, whatever character, or The Office. So you can have some fun with that with the people you're with. And it helps you, and then you have a discussion about it. Like, I don't think I'm so-and-so. Well, why do you think you got that? Well, maybe so there's a discussion. Also, you can do group trips and outings. How many of you, by show of hands, you're the person that like, you'll go to lunch with someone, if you're old enough, you'll go for drinks, you'll go for coffee or tea, show of hands. Anybody like to do that? To like get to know people? Okay. So for those of you that didn't raise your hand, what kind of stuff, like how do you get to know people? Anybody want to share? Okay, we'll go here. Was that it? No.
Just trying to be mindful of who they speak here.
Okay, go ahead.
I feel like for me, in order for me to get to know someone, they'll have to want to get to know me, so we have to get like equal. They have to get an equal basis, because I feel like if we're not spending up just to get to know me, then I'm not gonna have no purpose in getting to know them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and so it's possible, so, like for me, so it says team projects, I like to work on committees, because that's how I get to know people. Cause I'm not gonna be like, hey, let's go for lunch, like, I don't do that often. Sometimes I do, but it's like 5% of the time. I would rather eat my lunch and not talk to people, like I wanna be like off on my own. Okay, introvert, boundaries, but if we work on a project together, I really get to know about you, because it might be like, oh, my dog this, or my daughter that, my son, or my friend this. So sometimes that stuff comes out. Also, I know you're good at Excel, or you're good at speaking, or you're good at, hyping everybody up. So that's how I learn things about you. So that's how I do it. And it's important to learn that about yourself, because going back to what Denise and I were talking about, like, if you know she's a people person, and I would prefer to work with the people, but I also like, if we're on the team and Denise is gonna work with the people, then I'll take care of getting the calendar done. Because I know the people part is covered. I don't have to do that, because Denise got it 100 times over, so I don't have to worry about it. So the more you learn about people and you know that, you know what role you're gonna play. Don't always play the same role as a leader. Sometimes as a leader, you're not standing up here with a microphone, you're in the corner dealing with my canvas slides. That needed to be taken care of. Thank you for that. Also celebrations. How many of you are the person who it's like, when everybody's birthday is, like in your family, or your friends, or at work, or show of hands? Okay. All right. So depending on the office I work in, I'm that person. And sometimes I'm not that person. Sometimes I don't have to be the person, somebody else is taking care of it. Currently, I'm the person. So, but also that comes with a responsibility where it's like, well, if I don't do it, no one's gonna do it. So I gotta do it. But then also, I gotta learn. So this kind of goes to love languages too. Do the staff in my office want that? So we have a staff member who is like, I don't want a big deal about my birthday. So we place a card on that person's desk for that birthday. And then other people, there's balloons behind the chair, and, so it's like you learn different things about people. And some people it's like, don't even, please do nothing. So they get a text, So, and it's complicated. Leadership is complicated. Because if you are getting to know people, I can't be led in the same way that one of you is led. Because I have my preferences, I have my boundaries. And so like, some people like to be micromanaged. Tell me everything, when it needs to be done, and how I'm gonna do it. Don't do that for me. Because if you can do all that, you might as well do it yourself. That's how I feel. But some people like that. Iron it out for me. Give me the deadlines, and then when the deadline comes, check in on me, make sure I did it. Me? I don't always get it by the deadline, but it depends on the project. But so that's what you gotta learn about people. Because it's like, if you lead everybody in the same way, somebody's gonna have a problem with you. And all you needed to do was find out that, oh, they like to be led a certain way. But that means you gotta be flexible as a leader, which is not easy. Because leading in itself, especially like if you're overseeing the tasks of a project, that's work. Now I gotta get to know people too. How am I gonna do all this on top of all the work I do? So it is not easy. And not everybody steps into roles like this. We don't have the entire BMCC community students sitting here right now. Would you want that? Would you want all BMCC? Oh. So, also as a leader, getting to know people, getting to know yourself. We've been talking about strengths this whole time. Now, there are things we need to work on. If you follow certain people on social media or you watch the news, there are certain leaders who I look at and I'm like, they need to do something about that. I think that person would be a better leader if they step down. Now, if they, in some cases, yes. If they worked on, but that's my opinion, if they worked on this thing. And so part of leadership is also looking at yourself, and that's part of self-awareness. You know, so in the very beginning, when we talk about self-awareness, one of the things to know about yourself is what areas you need to work on. And so with 16 personalities, there was also like a one-sheeter with different questions as far as like your strengths and weaknesses. So I encourage you to take time, not now, but in the future, if you haven't already, to look at what things you need to work on in order to be a better leader. And then ideally you do it while you're a student here at BMCC, or while you're here and you have resources at BMCC, because you have Center for Career Development, you have the Counseling Center, you have athletics and recreation. I mean, this BMCC has so many things. So, so you have access to free services that can help you to work on those things. You have clubs and, you know, different, I mean, you're in leadership roles now, but if there are other things you want to work on, you can look on the BMCC website for the co-curricular transcript and see what workshops, like this Money Works. I never had that when I was in college, but if you attend those Money Works workshops, you get CC credit, but possibly even more importantly, you know, it's being recorded, but you get that knowledge about money. It's like credit cards and just different things, and identity theft. So that might be something you're like, yeah, you know, I'm pretty good at leadership, but like, I'm not good if it comes to money. Like, you don't want me to be the money person. You might be able to work on that. I mean, there are things I've worked on that ended up becoming a strength, but I don't need to use it all the time. So like at one point I had a job and I did a lot of things. One of them was the website and social media. I was like building a website. I never did that before. And so I took it home. It was on it with what we used, but I did it at home instead of being in the office because I kept getting interrupted. I need to focus. And I learned how to do it, and I was actually pretty good at it. And then I started thinking like, oh, I started looking into like digital marketing, and you know, it actually brought up an interest of mine. So you never know what can happen. So have you ever thought, show of hands, have you ever thought about areas that you want to work on? Cool. The next question is, when you thought about those areas, have you ever actually worked on them? Show of hands. Okay. All right. So, is that a hand?
No, I was just gonna, when you're done with your thought, I wanted to ask.
Oh, go ahead.
So, you know, many of you say that you want to be a mentor because you want to help people. Like that's the common denominator. The two and I have to figure out, how are you going to behave when the help you are given is not perceived by the other person as being helpful, or not acknowledged with gratitude to you as the helper, as being appreciated by the person you were trying to help. So I ask you these deep questions because some people, because they want to help and don't know themselves, what they don't see is the reason that they need to help is to sort of make themselves feel good about themselves. And their sense of self-worth is all about seeing in that other person's face that I did good. So they don't really want to help people. They want someone else to make them feel good about themselves, right? And there's many, many things like this. That's why for me, it's so important that we introduce you to something like 60 personalities. We could do Christina and I, between the two of us, we have almost every single one of these. Like you've got your colors and I've got it. Yeah. So I mean, we can do these all day long at different ways, but the more knowledge you have about what motivates you deep down, you keep secret, the better you can use these tools to change the world around you and navigate the way you interact with people. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you. Yeah, so just some of the final remarks, so everything we're talking about, it reminds me of when I was in college, and I say I was not a good leader. Now, there's leadership and then there's good leadership, and you have to define what good leadership is for yourself. I was getting awards and I was getting, I'm president of this club, VP of that club. But for me, it was like, I'm gonna get the work done, and that's why I kept getting elected. They wanted somebody to get the work done. But for me, it was the how. Like when I think back to how I got the work done, I didn't necessarily care about the people. Not that I didn't care. Not that I didn't care, but it was like, all right, we just gotta get this done. It was all about the getting it done and the perfectionism. And it's been a long time since I was in college. And for me, getting it done is not as important. That's why earlier I was like, well, I get it done by the deadline, but it depends on the project. Because you might have, the person giving you the project might have totally unrealistic expectations of me and the staff I'm working with. And it's like, get it done in 5 minutes. And it's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. And I'm confident enough now to be like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. But I did not lead the way I lead today. Like for me, what I say now is like my purpose on this planet is to give love. So that's not what I said back when I was 20. I was a television and radio major. I wanted to party, I wanted to be on the air, I wanted to be with the celebrities, and that's what I was getting done. And I wanted to be successful. And for me, success was a title, it was a position. Now, I have no title or position. Like I have one, but I have no title or position in mind. I'm not saying for you, that's how you go. We all define success in our own ways. But how do you define success for yourself if you don't know enough about yourself? Yeah. Yeah, so the two main things that I want to make sure you leave today with is to remember it's okay to recognize your strengths. And even to say them. And if you need to brag for a minute, I'm here. If you can actually go to the next slide, it should be the last one. Cool, thank you. So I have my email address. You can email me like, hey, I want to tell you what happened. I actually did not put my office number. I guess well, my email address, you can tell me. I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. You can follow, I'll follow back. If you want to just say like, hey, I want to tell you what happened. I love that. So that's the first part. The second is the share about yourself, share your accomplishments and your strengths. The second one is development never ends. Working on yourself never ends, which could be annoying sometimes. Like sometimes it's just like, okay, enough. Like I gotta work on this now. So like Alan was saying, like whoever you believe in, or if you're not religious, like it's the universe, but like for me it's God in the universe, and I'll be like, what now? Didn't I just do enough? So there's always something. Sometimes you get a break, but the learning never ends. So please take time to also get to know things that you can work on that can help you as well, to become a better person, which then in turn, you become a better leader, and those strengths are important because this great example is when you know your strengths and you know other people's strengths, you know how you can work together. There might be a time when Denise is like, I can't imagine this, but where it's like, I don't want to deal with students. And it's like, I was just there. Oh, so then from there, I'll be like, okay, you know what? I can take care of them until you feel, because you also have a social boundary. I don't know if that's what it was, but yeah, sometimes we need to step back. Like for me as an introvert, I have a routine. I go into the bathroom, I had a sweater on, I changed my sweater, I put this on, and it's like I go into like extrovert mode. When I'm done here, I'm gonna go back in the bathroom and I'm gonna go back into introvert mode. I've been doing that for the longest time, even before I worked at GMCC, so that's something, that might be something that you need, that you want to do. It's okay to do that, it's okay to set time for yourself. So, that, we did pretty good with time, so I wanted to end before 5, so here we go. Any final comments or questions that you have? Okay,
I did have to make one comment.
yes,
I retook 60 personalities. And I just needed you to know, for all of you who think you know me, I'm 72% introvert. Now, when I leave here, I'm gonna need to go home and talk to nobody. Because literally, this is as much energy as I can put out, right? So what I'm saying is that you would know that about. But for Steve, you have your ritual like mine, right? When you know you gotta be the one and you gotta bring it, there's things you can do to trick yourself and do it. Same thing with the extrovert. If you're like a big happy puppy and you gotta focus on the task, it's not to say shame, settle down. No, but you got work you gotta do. So you gotta do whatever you gotta do to get in the zone of it, right? So, and that comes from practice and experience, and that's part of your professional development through this, to learn how to pivot with that, okay? So just know that.
and there ain't nothing wrong with being an extrovert, and there ain't nothing wrong with being an introvert. That's one of the things I find sometimes people like, oh, these extroverts, or like, oh, these introverts. I'm like, because I call myself an introvert who does extroverted things. So I feel like, so what am I supposed to like not like myself because I'm introvert? Come on. So again, those labels, they're not labeled. Please don't label yourself. The society doesn't enough. Please don't do it to yourself. So I want to thank you all again. There were no final comments. I think 5 o'clock is your end.
Yeah, we're gonna go over some things. I did want to tell you in case you haven't scheduled things yet. Our meetings for impact, we have 2 sessions every Friday. It's either 9:45 to 11:45 or 3 to 5. And they're required as part of their job to be free and come to us or they lose their job. In the middle of the day, we try to do our mentee meetings because we're trying to send them to you guys for Pub Out or ASAP or BLA. So we try to get in the middle of the day, we're bringing our mentees. I would love for them to do GEM, but it's always on Fridays, right? So if there's opportunities that maybe we can talk about down the line with Harry about, are there ways we could pivot or lining up bolts and sending whatever? Give that some thought, because I hate when you come to me with said puppy face, but I have no idea, I don't want to do GEM. Congratulations, and I really want you to do it. Okay, great, but you won't be a mentor. Because you're committing to our development here, and sometimes you can't do it all, right? So we can do our part to try to schedule what we can, but you can't say yes to everything. So remember that too, is we're not asking you as leaders to be all things to all people. You got to regulate your own schedule. Okay? So sorry, I just figured I'd let you know that, because they're going to come to me with all the nominations. You're like, tell your people to join general, but like, I can't.
And the thing is, it's like, there's only so many days in a week.
That's
So
what you
it's like,
think?
if there's stuff on Wednesday and there's stuff on Thursday, then like, well, we're not gonna do GEM on Thursday because we already got stuff on that, Yeah. Do you have a question?
No, I was just gonna say that's a wonderful point as a leader, and I suffer with that, wanting to, because you can and you want to, but you can't do everything.
Right.
You can't do everything. Gotta keep telling myself that. Yeah.
So we'll see. We're going to try to, now that there's a little bit tiny ray of sunshine in your unit, that maybe there's hope we can distribute some workload. We're going to try to partner more with OSA again and sort of collaborate more, because we know you guys are mostly thirsty for leadership and engagement, that kind of stuff. So we'll keep it going. Okay?
Thank you
But
all for keeping the energy and for participating.
Thank you for coming. Thank you all for the best.